This is the Lewis jumpsuit. You can clearly see the difference between the Lewis jumpsuit from the RoboCop 3 and this one from RoboCop 1. And the design of this one from RoboCop 1 is beautiful. On RoboCop 1, the P of OCP is on the shadow, and on RoboCop 3, the P is clearly visible. When we open the distress jumpsuit of Lewis, we see inside the skin color fabric made to simulate the skin of Lewis, charged with fake blood. Everything started 12 years ago when I met a huge collector of RoboCop. I was very close to her, but 2 or 3 years after, she decided to sell everything. And for me, it was very sad, because I want to keep everything, not for me, but for all the RoboCop history, to protect everything, to make an archive of everything. So I began to buy everything, and I'm very proud to protect all these props, all these materials. I was very young when I discovered the RoboCop for the first time. It was in VHS, of course. I was 6 or 7 years old, so I have always been a big fan of Phil Tippett's work, because I grew up with RoboCop and Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back, so it was a huge inspiration for me. For me, a movie items is not interesting just because the movie is famous. You have so many wonderful artists who work on these movies. That's the thing I like in collecting and preserve movie history. The problem is the materials which was used at that time, and especially the foam latex and the resin, the silicone, the resin, everything is rot very quickly. So I try to preserve and stabilize in my workshop all these props to prevent the destruction. At that time, the movie production was more, not efficient, but was more directly with the artists. I don't think now make the same armor of RoboCop with such small team, like the Bottin team at that time. I don't think it's possible now to do that. So that's why it's very interesting for me, and of course they use film to shoot the movie, and everything is very organic. I like everything, and especially the props were used by the team to create the final props, because for me the whole process is very interesting, and I like the first sculpting, the first sketch. I like how the thing transforms a little bit during the process, and to have the final props. I was very happy when I owned the back piece of the makeup of RoboCop without helmet at the end with the fight with Clarence Bodiker. And when I discovered this piece, it was amazing, because we have the rest of the makeup. It was very exciting to discover all the scratch and to check and match all the scratch on the movie. That is for me the same importance as just the piece without painting, just the first sculpt. All the process, all the people involved to create these pieces. Making a movie is just fight against problems in reality. And in the props, you can see that. I have an example for that. When I had the RoboCop suit, the previous owner said to me, "This is the suit from RoboCop 2." So I began to restore the suit, and I put some picture on Facebook. And Greg Puchnaz, the painter of RoboCop, asked me, "What is this? Wow, what is this suit? Or explain it to me." So I began, "Yeah, this is the suit from RoboCop 2." He said, "Sure?" I said, "Yes, the collector told me that." He said, "Please, can I check the paint and the materials?" I said, okay, I make some close-up shots. He said, "Man, this is the RoboCop suit from the 1, because only the RoboCop suit from the 1 are made in flexible urethane. After, it's not the same construction. So this is the suit from the 1. He said, "You know what? I remember that because it was a complete nightmare. Because as the suit was flexible, each time during the shooting, I repaint the suit because the crack appeared during the shooting. I clearly remember all the suits from the RoboCop 1 are flexible in resin." It was like an archaeologist, you know, who who are looking for a dinosaur or for old civilization, and you just discover this suit is from RoboCop 1. I heard something about Bottin design of the armor. I'm not sure because I never met Bottin, but some people say he tried to make a flexible armor for the first movie in order to not injure Peter Weller inside the suit. So that's why the armor and the suit is flexible. And you have the midsection, the black piece. It's an undersuit, a complete undersuit in foam latex and spandex. And you have the urethane resin and like foam too, but very high density foam. So the armor is very rigid and flexible at the same time. It's pretty heavy armor. You can feel the heavy suit in RoboCop 1. In the second movie, the armor is more light, more plastic for me in the RoboCop 2. I had this suit stored in my workshop in Switzerland for a long time. I am a good friend of Dan Ullman, the founder of the Museum of la Miniature et le Cinéma in France. He had a beautiful museum with many original props. For me, it was a purpose to show this real armor to the public. And that's why I restored the suit and I put the suit in the museum in France. The fun thing is the suit, the original suit, is mainly green. It's painted with car metallic paints, many layers with airbrush, pink, purple, blue, silver. So many people in the museum say, what is it? It's not a real armor, it's a fake armor because the real armor is silver. That's why it's very interesting to understand the difference between the real props and the final props in the movie with the color grading and everything. Phil Tippett had the same armor as me, but his armor was repainted for RoboCop 2. If I'm correct, the suit of Phil Tippett was used for stunt. This gun was molded on the same gun since RoboCop 1. The gun didn't have the trigger because the gloves are too big, and if RoboCop do that with his gun, you can have the trigger. So all the RoboCop guns don't have the trigger. Among the collection, the thing I really like is my Reels collection. And inside these two boxes, you have the dailies and sound tests on magnetic tape. This is the original screenplay from RoboCop 1. Very interesting thing is at the end, the story is not finished by what's your name? My name is Murphy. The end is a media break scene and Louis at the hospital. So interesting to see the change. This is pics from Bottin workshop with all the armor in close-up, different lights, sunlight, tungsten light. This has never been published before. One of my favorite pieces is the original storyboard from RoboCop 2. These storyboards are the fight between Kane and RoboCop, but the thing I like is how Phil Norwood, who's an amazing artist, he worked for concept design for James Cameron, for example, such big level. But I like the way how he drew that with perfect line and shape, and he worked with ink, he worked with alcohol marker. I always prefer traditional art with traditional artists than CG concept, because CG concept is very beautiful and very interesting. You never have the same organic level and the same perfection. This is a black and white picture made by Ronny Cox. They used this picture and airbrushed with thin layer of color to make it look like a painting for the final poster. I like movie posters very much, especially at that time because each country have different posters. And in France we have bigger posters than the USA. Basically it's 1.6 meter to 1.2 meters. In my collection, I have the standard poster from all around the world. I got from France, USA, Spain, Germany, but I got one very not standard, big, pretty big, 4 meters by 3 meters. Basically, this poster is brand new, never unfolded. It's in the same condition as in 1988 when the movie was released in France.